At 62, I'm not hiding anymore. That's the line that hit me like a bell. Hey, I'm Sarah Reed, and today on Golden American Legends, we're talking about Demi Moore finally opening up about a marriage that once looked like Hollywood magic and felt like private thunder. After years of letting the tabloids fill in the blanks, she's choosing her own words. Truth, pain, healing, strength. And I'll be honest, I didn't expect how much this would reframe everything I thought I knew about Demi and Ashton Kutcher. Picture this, Demi on red carpets again, Oscar buzz swirling, the same woman who gave us Molly Jensen in Ghost, now talking about the very real ghost she had to face in her own life. It's not a takedown, it's not a tell-all for shock value. It's a woman saying, here's what hurt, here's what I learned, here's how I stood back up. In this video, I'm going to walk you through the arc, the rise to Hollywood royalty, the whirlwind with Ashton, the heartbreak, the memoir, and finally, why she's speaking now. By the end, I think you'll see her story less like a tabloid headline and more like a map. Ready to dig in? Let's roll back the clock because the present only makes sense when you know where it started. I still remember the first time I saw Ghost. That pottery wheel scene? Come on, it wasn't just romance, it was star power. Demi Moore went from TV's Girl Next Door to a 1990s force. A Few Good Men, Indecent Proposal, Striptease, G.I. Jane. She wasn't following Hollywood's rules, she was rewriting them. And the industry knew it. Record-shattering paychecks and magazine covers that pushed culture forward. She was an A-lister who felt fearless. Off-screen, she built a life that looked like a dream. She married Bruce Willis in 1987, had 3 daughters, Rumor, Scout, Tallulah, and they became the definition of a super couple. I always think about how those snapshots in the tabloids shaped our view. The big smiles, the vacations, the blended family holidays. It felt steady, even when the industry wasn't. But here's what we didn't see then. Demi carried a lot from a tough childhood, trauma, addiction battles, an inner storm that success can't just erase. She's talked about this with such honesty, how surviving early pain laid the groundwork for the strength we see now. When their marriage ended in 2000, it shocked fans. Yet even in that ending, you can see the thread that runs through her life, perseverance. Keep that word close. It matters for what comes next. Okay, jump to the early 2000s. It's 2003, and the headlines read like a modern fable. Demi Moore, 40, dating Ashton Kutcher, 25, the That 70s Show heartthrob. The age gap lit up the press. The photos were everywhere. And honestly, they looked happy, fun, playful. It was the kind of love story that makes you root for it because it broke a rule and dared anyone to say no. Inside the family, there were those very human moments. Imagine your mom dating your teenage crush. Rumor has said it felt surreal at first, then settled into something real as Ashton showed up for the family. Bruce and Ashton were reportedly cordial, even kind, an LA unicorn, grown-up co-parenting. In 2005, Demi and Ashton got married. Cowboy boots, big grins, a blended family. For a while, it looked like they'd found a rhythm that worked. From the outside, the narrative was irresistible. The trailblazing icon and the sitcom star making a new kind of Hollywood home. And for a season, it was their truth. But fairy tales, real ones, come with shadows. I didn't see them then, most of us didn't. But the shadows were there, waiting. This is the part that hurts to tell. Behind the smiles, Demi was carrying a grief that few knew. She became pregnant and 6 months in, lost the baby. She's described feeling lost and empty after that. If you've been through anything like that, you know it changes the color of every day. They tried treatments, plans, even exploring adoption. Love was there, so was pressure, and pressure has a way of finding the weak seams. Then came the rumors. In 2011, a story broke about Ashton and another woman. Demi has said she learned of it on her phone, one of those awful alerts that makes your heart drop. Imagine waking up to the internet telling you your life just split in two. She recognized details that made it real. And in that moment, the public fairy tale collided with private truth. They separated in 2011 and divorced in 2013. After, Ashton would say he felt like a failure, but kept respect for Demi and her daughters. Demi called the whole chapter incredibly painful. I get quiet here because it reminds me that fame doesn't cushion impact. It can amplify it. This was the breaking point, but it wasn't the end of her story. Years passed with more silence than statements. Then in 2019, Demi released Inside Out. I remember turning pages and feeling the air get heavier. She wrote about the miscarriage, the drinking, the eating disorder, and yes, details of the marriage she'd largely kept private. She talked about choices she regrets and dynamics that didn't honor her. Not to scandalize, but to be honest. That difference matters. The book split opinions. Some people praised her courage, others said it was too much. Ashton, for his part, was reportedly angry about parts of it. And that reaction made one thing clear. The wounds were still tender for everyone involved. But for Demi, the memoir was a stake in the ground. It said, "I won't carry this silently anymore." What I admire most is the through line. She frames pain as material you can build with. She doesn't paint herself as perfect. She takes accountability for choices, and she also calls out harm. That's not easy. Inside Out became the definitive public record for a while, but the story didn't stop there. It grew into something softer and stronger. So why speak now, and why does it feel different? Because the woman talking today is also the woman headlining a comeback. With the substance, she's back in the awards conversation, and in interviews, she keeps circling the same message: experience is power. Aging is a gift, and the insecurities we hide can be the engine for our best work. When she reflects on the Ashton years now, the tone is steady, grounded. She talks about how truth hurts, then heals, how accountability both ways was part of learning. She's not relitigating, she's reframing. That chapter etched necessary truths. The same person who once felt lost now speaks to her younger self with tenderness. You are imperfectly perfect. That lands, right? I think fans are hearing her differently because she's living the proof. She is working, winning, showing up. And when someone shows you healing in motion, their words carry more light. Does her new honesty change how you see that marriage? For me, it takes the story out of gossip and into growth. That's a big shift, and it's overdue. Here's the big picture I keep coming back to. Demi Moore's life is not a scandal reel, it's a resilience reel. From a rough childhood to 90s superstardom, from super couple to single mom, from heartbreak to hard-won peace, she keeps moving, and she keeps turning pain into purpose. That's not PR, that's practice. Her voice now is bigger than any one relationship. She pushes back on ageism simply by excelling at 62. She speaks about trauma without shame, which helps other people name their own stories. And let's not forget her activism roots. Years of work supporting survivors and using her platform to shift culture. So what's the takeaway for us? Tell the truth, even if your voice shakes. Let experience be an amplifier, not a silencer. And when a chapter ends ugly, you still get to write the next one. Demi's doing that in real time. Are you ready to do that in your life too? Drop a comment. What part of her journey hit you hardest? I read them all, and your stories matter here. All right, friends, that's our story. Demi Moore at 62, finally saying the quiet parts out loud and reminding us that healing is a long game. I'm Sarah Reed, and this is Golden American Legends, where we take the headlines and find the heart. If this episode moved you, hit like so more people find it. And tell me, did her new words change how you look at that relationship or her legacy? If you love smart human stories about the legends who shaped our screens, make sure you subscribe and ring the bell. We've got more coming. My next deep dive might surprise you. Thanks for watching. Thanks for being kind in the comments, and I'll see you in the next one. And hey, experience isn't diminished. It's full of potential. Let's go live like we believe that.